both legendary and the envy of the market. Retail banking. One bank, different amazing packages. Whether you are interested in savings account, current account, time or fixed deposit account, lending or overdraft, our team of dedicated staff is always ready and happy to help you out with your transactions as you wish. Corporate banking. Trust Bank offers the most convenient services for deposit accounts, credit facilities, trade finance, bond and guarantee, and foreign currency account. With e-banking, you can make electronic bill payments and online banking and enjoy 24-hour access to your money without ATM. With the largest network of branches and agents, we give you the convenience to receive funds as you please. We are Trust Bank because we take pride in satisfying every customer's financial needs.
Introducing the future of hassle-free and seamless financial transaction. The Yonna Wallet App, empowering you to effortlessly manage your money anytime, anywhere. With the Yonna Wallet App, you can now enjoy branchless banking, wallet-to-wallet transfer, wallet-to-cash, and bank cross-border payments, deposit at a bank, and withdraw from any Yonna branch. Get ready to experience the ultimate banking convenience with the Yonna Wallet App. With just few taps on your phone, you can effortlessly add funds, withdraw, and send money to your loved ones. The Yonna Wallet App also provides a detailed history of your transaction, making it easier to track your expenses. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Yonna Wallet App today on Play Store or App Store and say goodbye to hassle of traditional banking. Yonna Forex Bureau Limited, delivering much more than money.
Jah Oil ñoom ñoo jiitu si wàllum jaay essence si biir réew mi te ñu def ko warugal pour kontaan loo suñu client yi borom moto yi ak driver yi seen jaaxare jeex na léegi pour am essence bu baax ak njëg bu yomba lii sax moo tax ñu amal leen banxaas fépp si biir réew mi pour essence bu baax bu set benn place rek la muy Jah Oil soo soxlae essence bu set essence bu baax gasoil wala kérosène naa la wax ne Jah Oil rek mooy jëmukaay ga doxantul rek si bépp banxaasi Jah Oil nga am si bànneex ak Jah Oil seen bànneex mooy suñ taxawaay moo tax ñu amoon leen banxaas bépp si biir réew mi nim gën a yombee pour yow ak suñ liggéeykat yu xarañ yi naa la won ne mbégte rek nga see jël pour am essence bu baax pour say machine fenn place rek la mooy sa Jah Oil ak Jah Oil bànneex kese la moo tax sax suñ station si nekk ca Costa Road ak Banjul wàññil nañ leen njëgi essence bi foofu noonu pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call si 770-8080 322-9070 714-7273 wala 787-1321 Jah Oil, the pride of the nation.
Looking for the perfect home away from home in the Gambia? Welcome to BC's Residence, your ideal short-stay apartment in the heart of Bundum. Whether you're visiting for business, pleasure, or an extended stay, BC's Residence offers you the comfort, convenience, and privacy you deserve. Enjoy spacious, well-appointed accommodations in a peaceful neighborhood just behind Nusrat High School. Our residence combines modern amenities with authentic Gambian hospitality, ensuring your stay is both comfortable and memorable. At BC's Residence, you are not just booking a room, you're finding your perfect base to explore all that the Gambia has to offer. Ready to book your stay? Contact us today. plus 220-941414. bcsresidence@gmail.com. BC's Residence, Bundum, behind Nusrat High School. Your comfort is our priority.
Hello and welcome back to our show. It's been 3 weeks and I've been away. It was a mini holiday for me, but I'm back here, and Eid Mubarak to you all. And of course, today is the State of the Nation address. No better person to be on the platform than two economists, Dr. Ousman Gajigo and my brother Nyang Njie. Nyang, welcome back.
Thank you. I feel like I'm home.
I know, this is home.
It is home.
It's all started, you know.
Yes.
Just
and we need a reunion, by the way.
We do. Well, it should come, though. We should have a reunion.
Yes.
Maybe end of the year.
That'll be
I'll
nice.
work on that.
That'll be nice.
Dr. Gajigo, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now you are wearing two caps. Politician and politician. I told everybody, my favorite independent analyst has turned into a politician. I don't know why.
So that won't change anything, because as a professional, he uses data to make his analysis.
Yeah.
And he can't massage the data.
Yeah.
So he's duty bound to just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
So that's different from his political leanings.
And the reason why I say this is because, you know, whenever we have Dr. Gajigo here, after every show, somebody will call and say, Dr. Gajigo and Lamin Man, they say, the NPP people, obviously, they tell me they paint this country so negative. But to the independent, to the general public, it is so independent, and people get worried. People get a fair balance. But when he is in politics, people will say, "Hey, politician will have maybe opposition." So that can also, you know.
Yeah.
I was worried about that.
You see, economics as a discipline is very abstract.
Okay.
But in as much as it's abstract, is a behavioral science. When someone tells you this is what's happening,
yeah,
and the people are feeling something different.
Exactly.
That's it.
I think, I've said this before.
Yeah.
It's like another analogy is like, let's say you are not feeling well, you don't feel healthy.
Yeah.
You feel some fever or pain.
Yeah.
And then you go to a doctor, and the doctor says you are feeling okay. Well, you'll be a fool not to listen to your own body.
Absolutely.
The same thing, every individual here.
Yeah.
You know, the ultimate arbiters of whether the economy is doing well is the ordinary person who is surviving, who is not, you know. So instead of, if somebody tells you, it doesn't matter if it's a government supporter, an opposition, an analyst, if they tell you the economy is doing very well, and your everyday lead struggle is something completely different, well, you don't need a degree in economics to know what is going on.
Yes, and also sometimes, Fatou, I'll give you a simple analogy.
Yeah.
Someone tells you GRA has collected so much. That's a statement of fact. But it should be qualified that the exchange rate today is X.
Yeah.
So the trade volume hasn't gone up in dollars, but the dollars is collected has gone up. That doesn't mean the economy is growing. And these are things that, because $5 million in 2017 was $350 million.
Yeah.
$5 million today, 77 times whatever. So it's not the same. And always you need to qualify figures. You just don't give raw figures.
Exactly.
And that's my problem with how people report data in this country.
Interesting.
Everything has to be contextualized.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed.
Today, this is the final State of the Nation address in this presidential term. Sometime next year, by this time, we'll either have a third term or a new president, and that will be delivering the State of the Nation address. Today, the president, it was brief. I mean, I saw Mustafa Akedabo. He said it was just another cut and paste, and I saw some other people write that. But before we get into all the specific, what was your observation when you watched the State of the Nation address today?
I mean, it was just the familiar thing you get from this government when it comes to major speeches. It's very formulaic, like a standard. They have a standard template where they just go each year, just go and cut and plug in there. If you are trying to get an understanding of what's happening in a particular sector by looking at indicators that matter to the Gambian people, this SONA address, like the previous ones, do not provide that. It's basically general formulaic speech that is just giving you a lot of pronouncement, a heavy focus on inputs, but almost complete absence on outputs and impact. Like, you talk about agriculture, you talk about, we spend this month on seeds, for instance. Groundnut production went up to, close to 60,000 tons. We spend this amount on fertilizer. But what are the indicators that matter to the average person? The productivity, the increase in the amount of, let's say, the returns they got on their rice cultivation, the returns they got on their groundnut cultivation, the actual effect on rice prices, because people grow rice, for instance. The same things on fishery. They'll talk about, we've collected this amount of millions from fisheries. But if you're asking yourself, the average Gambian today, do you want to talk about the fishery sector? What does the average Gambian care about? The amount you collected from fishing vessels, or the quantity and quality and affordability of fish? What are, the same thing. Electricity. You talk about you've reached 90% access rate. First of all, that number is wrong. Gambia doesn't have 90%. It's completely wrong. Factual, these are things that we talked about. You cannot just pull those numbers. Those numbers, that is not factually correct. Number one, you can access rate, the way it's calculated is as long as you have electricity wire connected to your house, you have access. You can have 90% blackout rate, it will still count as access. When we talking about real access, we should talk about access in terms of getting the energy you need reliably and affordably. So the problem here is that you have a lot of focus on inputs, but the things that matter to people in terms of the outcomes for their life, the impact, they are missing here. And I've seen somebody made this point before, so it's nothing original. But once you have seen one SONA address, it's almost a child's play to write the subsequent ones as far as this administration is concerned. So this is the thing here. So there is nothing really that's meaningful, nothing here that we can learn from, nothing definitely that gives you confidence in terms of whether the economy it's moving forward in a way that will make a difference in the life of the average Gambian.
Well, Nyang, the president said the GDP growth rose from 5.9 in 2005 to 5.7 in 2004. Inflation fell from 10.2% to 6.6%. The diaspora remittances hit 872 million, which is about 34% of our GDP. State-owned enterprises swung from 2.6 billion loss to 2.5 billion profit, a 5.1 billion turnover. That made it look like that looks like the economy is really doing good.
Context. Once again, I will go back to what he said. Input, output, impact. As a development practitioner, as a macroeconomist, numbers are just numbers until you shadow or mirror them with the real world. we don't live in an abstract environment. We live in a real dynamic, not static, a dynamic environment. You want to tell me about inflation. You give me your figures. I'll take your figures. But the best measurement of inflation is the frequency you put your hand into your pocket on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And the price changes within a time frame. That's the best. Forget about Einstein. Forget about any theory. Practical solution. Having to spend and having to take it out, and sometimes it's not there, or I have to top up way too much. For me, that's my best measurement of inflation. Rudimentary, of course, but it's real life. If you look at the speech as a whole, I think the problem is where they wanted to end is where what really impacted the speech. A rosy environment. A rosy environment, yes, you talk about how much you have spent somewhere. But if one is honest enough, you will say, what's the impact of that expenditure? Whatever government spends, I mean, there's two things that this government lacks in terms of taking care of government activities, because government is a service provider.
Yeah.
What better thing to do for a service provider to have a Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation to monitor service delivery, whether it's how long does it take for a Gambian to own a passport, driver's license, ID card. If we put so much in agriculture, how is it filtering down? Because now we even have what you call household impact assessment. Forget about the environment, forget about social. At the household level, government can calculate what they're doing in terms of our tax dollars and how it is impacting us at the lowest micro level, the household. Then government can tell us that what we're doing is yielding tangible economic dividend. But as I see it, what they have been doing, they have been reporting to us what they are spending. But as a Gambian, I'm not interested in what you spend. I'm interested in you showing me what you have spent, how is it impacting the life of Demba, Samba, Fatou, Mariam, etc. That is what's important about the expenditure, not the quantum of money spent.
Exactly. Dr. Gajigo, it looks like the economy is doing well because GDP rose to 5.9 compared to 2024. Inflation is down. I mean, this has always been my argument.
You're right.
Inflation, I don't know how they measure it. Whenever the MPC comes, I'm always looking at the inflation rate and I'm thinking, but the rice I bought last week is the same price or even higher. Everything that I bought last month or last 3 quarters is the same or even higher. Yeah. How do you measure inflation? My measurement is how I buy, whatever I buy, the goods I buy in the market, are they going down or are they going up?
Exactly.
And that me and every other person, as far as I'm concerned, it's not. But with the government reports, it's really going down. So how?
I mean, it's not really difficult to reconcile this. The point is, forgive me for using this phrase, but I think I may mangle it. But something like you can put a lipstick on a pig, it will still be a pig. But the point here is that a GDP growth rate of 5.9% for an economy like the Gambia is nothing to go shout about. It's nothing to celebrate. Context matters, again, as we said at the beginning. If you're talking about an advanced country like UK or the US, even a 3% growth rate would be impressive.
Yes.
In the Gambia, a GDP growth rate of 5.9%, that is the overall growth rate GDP, but it's not per capita. On per capita basis, it's less than 3%. So the average income, in other words, is growing at a rate of 3%. Now, the inflation rate currently is going at a rate of what percent? Around 6%.
6.6.
Let's take their numbers.
6.6.
Yes. In other words, the cost of goods for the average Gambian is growing twice the rate at which incomes are growing. This is the way to look at it. That's why it is not surprising. You, like every normal Gambian, every average Gambian, you do not see the cost of living going down. You're not experiencing an improvement in your standard of living. Because even at 6%, it means, your cost that you face on a daily basis, it's growing twice at the rate of your income.
Yeah.
You know, so this is not this is not a good news. Let me put it in another way, just to kind of contextualize it in a different way. At a per capita GDP of less than 3%,
yeah,
you know, Gambia currently is a low-income country. Around the world, you have four categories: low income, lower middle income, upper middle income, and high income. Gambia is in lower middle income. At this current growth rate of 5.9%, which is less than 3% per capita, for the next 15 to 20 years, Gambia will still remain a low-income country. So, in other words, in a generation from now, Gambia will still be a low-income country. Is that something to celebrate? We have countries, including those in ECOWAS and West Africa, that have graduated from low income to middle income.
Yes.
But at this growth rate that this government is touting as a positive news, Gambia would still be a low-income country, because that threshold, we will not hit it at the current growth rate.
I quite agree with you, and the reason why I'm agreeing is very simple. Gambia is an exposed, open economy. Basically, we are very sensitive to external shocks. So what I was expecting after COVID, after Ukraine, and now what's
Iran.
imminent with Iran,
yeah,
is for the government, because it's not what government spends, but policies that government comes with. By now, government should have created or devised a policy called import substitution strategy. One, to bolster the dalasi, because we will have less to import. Number two, what I would have loved to see this government do is to ensure that Gambia, we cannot insulate ourselves 100% from the global economy, but we can smoothen the shocks that are out there in the global economy. And the only way we can do it is to start doing the minimum things. Matchsticks should never be imported. Nails should scrap metal that's leaving Gambia can be converted to steel to make nails in the Gambia.
Or even something, just to buttress this excellent point, which something I've also mentioned before, is the most important sector, agriculture.
yeah.
We import 90% of the rice that we consume. And yet Gambia has the capacity to be rice self-sufficient. If we address rice self-sufficiency, the trade deficit, we can cut it significantly, because right now, what is our second biggest import item is rice.
After energy.
After energy. Rice is the second biggest item. If you are to cut the importation of rice and other agricultural commodities that we import, the trade deficit will fall significantly. You will reduce our exposure to these external shocks. The depreciation pressure on our dalasi, which is constant and unabated, will be controlled to a manageable degree.
Absolutely.
Our exposure to these external shocks would, you cannot bring it to zero, but you can really minimize and control.
But Fatou, the reason what he said is so right. The government happens to have what I call islands of excellence, pockets. Ministries working in pockets. That's the silo mentality. The government needs an oceans of excellence. Today, Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Agriculture should be working hand in glove.
Yeah.
Because look at what's happening. A tour operator in England sells a package. They own a hotel in Gambia.
Yeah.
They're getting local receipts in dalasis. They owe other people money. They settle in their dalasis. Number one. Number two, they collect their monies, supermarket items. So tourism as a business, as a sector, is not really benefiting meaningfully in what it could have done. And the only way that can happen is to have real sector linkages between agriculture and tourism with the support of the Ministry of Trade.
Absolutely.
And for me, these are the kind of things I expect in a SONA speech. Right now, Gambia is just a house that's on fire, and we're firefighting. And right now, we need to stop firefighting and do what you call a deliberate, accelerated economic growth model.
Firefighting?
Meaning, we're in distress.
It's a government in reaction mode.
Yeah, Gambia is in distress.
It's a government in reaction mode.
You have debt distress. You have everything distress. migration distress. So what we need to do right now is to have a medium-term plan of where we need to go. But for that to happen, Gambia needs disruptors, people who are willing to leave the current status quo of preparing a budget, taking it to the parliament, executing a budget, and it becomes a circle. What we need are leaders who are bold enough to disrupt what has been our age-old model.
This is election year.
It's not about election. People are elected to transform a country.
Yeah.
But if you want to play politics, you will be very short-term. And if you're short-term, you cannot develop an underdeveloped country. You need to have a broader, medium to long-term perspective of where Gambia ought to be.
And you don't think we're in the right direction right now?
We cannot, because politicians in Gambia, and nothing to do with this administrations, but generally, we are very self-serving and short-term in nature, because they will think 20 years I won't be here. Sorry, why bother about fixing that perspective? So this is our problem. And now what I see, if leaders were bound to do 2 terms, you say, I cannot do everything, but I will create a framework that others can ride on. Someday they will say this was his initiative. But they don't have to do it because they're there forever.
One thing Mr. President Barrow is very concerned about is about his legacy and road infrastructure. He said, Hanin that's what he said.
Well, you need to understand one thing. Development is 2 components. The soft side of development and the hard side of development.
Okay.
The soft side of development starts with the stomach, your health, your education, your security, without which the hard side of development is meaningless to the average Gambian. So we need to have a balance, because what's happening today, there's been a fiscal expansion over the years to really do these roads.
Yeah.
Monies are not fungible. It's not something that's just infinite. So what the roads are taking is affecting and impacting the soft side of development. And there has to be a balance. And it's this balance that I don't see within the broader framework of macro management in the Gambia.
The president said 1,200 kilometers of roads have been built since he came into power in 2017. Also in Basse and other areas. So is that not the kind of development that this country needs to progress?
Let's grant him that he has constructed a lot of roads, but you see, it's whenever a government points to a particular let's say any particular achievement, we shouldn't just look at that particular individual achievement in isolation and look at whether it's good or bad. The question to ask is the resources that have been used in that, could we have had even more? Could it have been used, much more effectively? Let's look at the roads, for instance. Yes, a lot of roads have been built, and I like any other Gambian, I would rather drive on a paved road than one full of potholes or one that is just pure gravel.
Yeah.
But let's look at something here. Within the road sector, a bridge that was built for the Gambia grant, no loan, by African Development Bank, has been valued at $500 million US. This government went in asset recycling, got less than 100 million for it. So at a loss of several 100 million. Now, one thing I like people to understand is compare the value of the roads that have been constructed.
Sorry, 1 minute. Sire, Sile, can you check the internet? If not, can you connect to both networks, please? It's really disrupting our broadcast. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So you have, you can look at all the roads constructed and compare that with the amount that we've lost in an asset recycling deal that was poorly negotiated. So the thing to look at is, yes, the roads that we have constructed, let's grant him that. That's a positive development.
Absolutely.
But could we have had a far greater quantity of roads without having to take the loans that we currently have taken if that asset recycling deal had been properly managed, properly negotiated?
Yeah.
Because these roads that are being built right now, a lot of them involve a significant amount of loans that will be paying years from now. But we didn't need to take any of those loans because $400 million could have built more roads than the roads that have already been constructed. So this is why it's important not just to look at particular development items in isolation.
Yeah.
So right now, what he is actually claiming as a positive development is actually a demonstration of a resource misallocation here.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You're so right.
We've lost more money in this bridge than the roads he constructed. And the roads he constructed, he took loans that shouldn't even have been taken.
And the bridge could have paid for all of this.
Exactly. Let's give an example. The third phase of this OIC road.
Yeah.
The government took a loan of how much? 1.5 billion from Islamic Development Bank. It was signed in December 2024. By the way, the construction is way behind schedule. The loan was signed in 2024. We have been paying fees on that loan for the past 2 years. And yet it's only now that they are doing it. By any measure, is that a sign of success? What's the delay? Because every delay, we pay fees. Every single budget, there's a fee allocation for that loan that was taken in 2024. The same company that had started phase 1 and phase 2 is still here. And there was a major break between the completion of the last phase and the current one. What explains this delay? So all of these things are costs that are significant, that are avoidable.
Absolutely.
You know, I could go on. The same thing about energy. There are examples. So again, you can talk about, okay, I think the other example you gave here is the port project.
Yeah.
But the government mentioned the fact that they are talking about the Sayan Deep Sea Port.
Yes.
The same concessionaire that we have that agreement with, which is Al Bayrak, already is in breach of the concession we have with them at the Gambia Ports Authority.
But not only that, sorry to interrupt. One thing that no one has been mentioning, the land that this port supposedly should be sitting on is sitting on a lot of zircon, black sand. Now, who will own that black sand? Who will exploit that black sand? And don't tell me we're going to leave it there and use it as aggregates in terms of building material. No. But I want to talk a little bit about the ferries, Fatou. I'm happy that the government got a new ferry. I'm happy that they've opened up the space for private participants to come in.
Yeah.
But where the government missed the boat is understanding the business model they should use for the ferry. Gambia should never think of building a bridge Banjul Barra because the ROI, the return on investment, will never make sense and no financier will give you money. But if Gambia happens to have a liberalized river transport where the ferry service, the company that's under the Port Authority, owns all the landing jetties. If you go to England, America, airports are owned generally by the state. Train stations are owned by the state. So guess what? Union Rail will come in, Pacific Rail will come in. That's what we needed to do. The Turkish that are building their ferries should not be given a space for them to have their landing facility. Simple example I'll give you. Gambia is having IPPs, independent power generators, people who are producing power and giving it to NAWEC. Imagine if government is giving each one to build their own transmission and distribution network. Certain things don't make sense, and I wonder sometimes, is government thinking? Our airport, Royal Air Maroc is coming there, SN Brussels is coming there, Al Italia sometimes, and other charters are coming. Civil aviation is making money. You give the Turkish guy, fine. Imagine 10 more companies want to come into Banjul and put their ferries. Do we have multiple lands to give or even for them to buy? That's waste of resource. So ports, government should have invested more in the ports. They built an ultra-modern facility to be a ferry terminal for all.
NDP, the National Development Plan. We have
The Irwa.
the Irwa.
Yeah, well, that's just basically like the budget. You can have documents that go through, our standard process of being developed, but the execution, is a different matter. So, the point here is, first of all, the well-conceptualized plans that need to be, developed and have them integrate, as you said at the beginning, instead of having each of these sectors work in silos, is the one that's not there.
Yeah.
You need to have, if you're talking about, for instance, let's say, you can give several examples. Food security and agriculture.
Yeah.
Even road transportation and energy. Those things need to be quite integrated with agriculture.
Yes.
So that when you have productivity or production in certain sectors, in certain parts of the country, you think about distribution, logistics, the energy supply. Electricity is just the name of basically an equipment. The benefit, the impact on people is the energy needs that you are trying to meet.
Yeah.
For businesses and for households. When you are building electricity so that you can just start one particular indicator like access without thinking about affordability, without thinking about reliability, without thinking about those loans that you are taking, how they'll be repaid. Because when a government takes a loan, government is not a business. You just don't get a profit directly from the sector. The government gets its revenue from tax that's collected, but that tax has to be, what determines that tax is the tax base. That tax base is influenced by the economic growth that's coming in from all of the sectors. So when the government is talking about expanding electricity, it needs to think how, that loan that has been taken to expand that distribution in the around the country can be repaid. Right now, there is no plan for that. Because as the government is actually taking loans, expand distribution, what's happening? The loans that it is taking even has to take greater loans because the generation that is needed to supply all of those extra distribution is not there. Right now, we have to increase our importation of energy from Senegal.
Yeah.
So which means imports go up, the depreciation pressure on the dalasi, increases even more. The government, because it cannot repay the loans it is taking, the subsidy that it has to give now, it will have to increase even more, which means the primary deficit will have to increase even more. The short-term borrowing that the government does, especially on the domestic market, will have to go up even more. So you have this perverse dynamic that reinforces itself in this negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as the government borrows more, what happens to the financial sector's allocation of resources to businesses? They get crowded out.
Yeah.
So the tax base shrinks. The government's ability to collect more tax revenue so that it is able to pay back those loans becomes even more constrained.
Yeah. Dr. Gajigo, my school of thought is very simple. Businesses have dalasis and bututs as profits. Governments have social dividends, quality of service as their metrics. And in today's world, whenever you want to finance, you need to factor in self-liquidation. If it's not even full, but partial self-liquidation. How am I going to liquidate this loan that I have taken? There is nothing like that. Secondly, risk management and mitigation. NAWEC abruptly signed a deal with Senelec. Brilliant. But guess what? NAWEC is collecting dalasis from everybody. And NAWEC has to pay euro, CFA, dollar, whatever, I don't know, to Senegal.
Yeah.
at the treasury management of NAWEC, what was their risk management to really contain the exposure? Because there is a significant exposure to their bills on a monthly basis. The simple thing that this government could have done. Government at the top level is having inflows for its projects lodged at the central bank. Those projects will put their dollars, euros, pounds into the market to get dollars to execute their projects. Why don't they sell all these funds to NAWEC and cut off the private sector? Not when I say private sector, I'm not talking about importers or anything. I'm talking about speculators. Because the real private sector don't get money through interventions. They get it after post-intervention through the people who are buying. So that alone is putting a speculative premium on the currency. So at the rate at which our currency is depreciating is because of speculative activity. And this speculative activity is just free fat on the sandwich for some people. So we are paying for a margin that's eaten by others. So productivity, as far as I'm concerned, it's not happening. And right now, you look at NAWEC, you look at Senelec, it's bleeding. And when will that bleeding stop? The bleeding will stop when there is a proper risk management put in place to really mitigate the eventualities of risk that we're exposed to as a country without a currency that doesn't trade outside of our borders.
But with all of these issues, the access rate also is growing. The government's target for 90% access is end of 2026. Today, they are reporting that they have 90% access.
Well, if I tell you today that you have access to electricity and your income is $2,500 a month, and you need minimum $65 a day electricity, what good is that access to you?
Exactly.
The income has to really be there to support and sustain that access. If not, it will be a switch I have in my house, but I don't have money to put in the meter to turn the switch to see the brightness.
It's sort of like you have, many compounds in the combos that have a tap, but you turn it on, there's no water. So the government here, as instead of addressing energy needs, it's just saying it's going for optics. We just want to say that we have electricity in every rural village. But, so it's basically you want to use electricity or infrastructure as a campaign tool as opposed to functional energy needs. Yeah, because again, the example I've given before multiple times is, the analogy here with water is very apt. If you only have one small borehole in a town, you can go and put a tap in every compound. But, with a small capacity borehole, do you think that water will be enough to... You can say, okay, everyone has access to water because they all have a tap running into their compound. That's the problem we have. Since this government came to power, there has not been any significant increase in generation. We've always been importing. We spend over 200 million. We paid over $200 million to Car Power Ship for renting a boat that was only here for 7 years and it's already gone. If that 200 million had been invested in generation, we would have had a 200 megawatt power plant that could supply the whole nation. You need to start with generation first before you go to distribution. See, but it's very difficult to to use that in a campaign. So they went for the part that is easy to splash that in a campaign, which is distribution. But they have no plan for generation. So what are we going to do?
But it's also reckless.
So basically we are going to...
Reckless in the sense that any country you go in the world, they should have what you call national base load. The minimum that should be produced locally. Today, we're in very good terms with Senegal. Nice. Perfect. What if there happens to be issues? And today, our base load is below, let's say, 25%. basically there'll be severe disruption in economic growth.
So it doesn't even have to be, we don't even have to be in bad relations with Senegal.
See the need.
Exactly. Because the biggest consumer of electricity is industry, and Senegal is growing. You just have to look at the area between Mbour and Senegal today, the amount of industrial buildings that are coming up. So Senegal could easily reach a spot, despite wanting to sell it to Gambia.
But it had their own need. Cement. When the Mali market was open to Senegal,
yes,
their preferred customer was Mali, not Gambia. Now, there's been issues getting to Mali. So now we're getting back some of their cement in the past 3 to 4 years. If the Mali market opens unfettered once again, you will not be seeing Ciment du Sahel and others, because size is an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. So Gambia, we always need to have something for a rainy day. Even if it's costing more per kilowatt, the base load of a country, minimum base load, it has to be guaranteed onshore, not offshore, because we live in a world that's very dynamic and things do change and change quickly. So my take is, when I was listening to the SONA, the things I'm disappointed in the sense that my vision of what I wanted to see, I didn't see it. Land. Today, the average Gambian residing in the Combos cannot afford a land. Why? Because of the speculative nature of the land business. Why can't government just, because policy is to respond to human behavior. Government say, if you buy a land today, for the next 5 years, if you don't fence it, it's fine. After 5 years, if it's not fenced and development is not happening there, you pay a punitive tax, because land banking is what's happening in Gambia today. And that's what policy is meant to address. The speculative, you try to put the brakes on a hot commodity, and land is very hot because of speculation. So you create policy to punish people who are banking on land to make future income, not present or current income. And these are things that I haven't seen, because he spoke about the land policy. And for me, yes, getting documentation is a major problem. We all know that. But the biggest problem is the speculative nature of the land business in this country.
That's true. Well, the other thing that the president also talked about is governance and justice. He talked about the new Election Act, the Criminal Offence Act, and the Criminal Procedures Act, which have all passed. Well, they said this is replacing the colonial era laws and the anti-corruption,
what about public order? It's a colonial law.
And obviously, the new policy that the government is trying
Public Order Act, I mean, for me, 2017, I always tell people, the president I wanted Barrow to be in 2017 was to be the architect of New Gambia, not the builder. The one that designed how New Gambia will look like. And subsequent presidents will build on his plan that he has envisaged for the country. But he continued the status quo where Jammeh left off. Not much has changed structurally in terms of institutional strengthening, in terms of transparency, in terms of accountability. Barrow, if he didn't even build 1 kilometer of road and he fixed the institutions, reparations, justice and accountability, he would have been touted as one of the greatest in Africa, not Gambia, because that's where we were in 2017. We wanted a U-turn, and that U-turn happens to come with institutional development, stronger institutions and weaker men and women, accountability, transparency. For me, those are more important than building roads and schools and hospitals. Why? Because if you don't have stronger institutions, you don't have good public procurement. So the money you're spending on the road, the fat cats will be eating what's not theirs. And that's what's happening. It's a zero-sum game.
But at least the election act has been passed. I mean, I looked at the under economy, they said 872 million is from diaspora remittances, which is about 34% of our GDP. Yet, the diaspora cannot partake in elections.
Yes. Reform has to be comprehensive. Reform. One, you don't bring it piecemeal, you bring a comprehensive package because it's systemic. This one impacts this impacts this. But if you want to take things in isolation, you're not helping the country. And that's why I said Barrow should have been the great architect of the new Gambia, not the great builder of the new Gambia. Because before you build, you need a design. And that's why he was elected. We wanted a new country.
And the design is not there.
Right now, it's basically you plaster where there's a crack. We don't want to fix cracks. We want a new house called the New Gambia.
It's basically having a fracture and that is healing wrongly. Instead of realigning, just went and just want to put a band-aid at the outside. But going back to that point about the remittances, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
The government again touts that as a positive development, as if they want to take ownership of it.
Of that, yes.
Yeah. The problem is actually, the government should actually be on its knees to this diaspora, because one, I've mentioned this before, the remittance is pretty much the only thing that is holding up the Dalasi. Yeah. Without the diaspora, the Dalasi would be a fraction of its value today.
We are $83 $90 per dollar.
More than that, we are complaining about the Dalasi losing its value steadily. Without the remittances, it would have been, it would just a free fall.
Absolutely.
Because every other determinant of the value of the currency is all pointing in the wrong direction, especially the trade deficit. FDI is almost nothing. The remittances is almost 3 times the amount of the FDI. But also, if you look at this, it is a missed opportunity. Over 800. This is significantly more than the total annual budget of the country.
Yeah.
Our remittance.
And it's already reported.
Yes.
Informal.
This is the formal
channel.
Yeah. So if you add the formal, you're talking about well over $1 billion.
Yeah.
So think about this. Again, most of those remittances are used for consumption.
Yeah.
But imagine if you actually improve the investment climate, instead of FDI, if a fraction of those remittances go towards investment because, let's say the Gambian diaspora, they have the confidence in the economy, you could easily have designed a diaspora bond here, where a fraction of that remittances would be enough to finance all of these roads that this government is talking about, that they are taking loans on, all these other things they are touting, this electricity that they are taking loans on. This would be actual Gambians investing in their own country.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have this massive loan that you will be paying for generations to come.
Ethiopia.
They did their whole Renaissance dam.
Look at the dam. It's one of the biggest projects in the world, not Africa. It's not financed by the World Bank, ADB or IDB. Self-funded.
Yeah.
People of Ethiopia built one of the greatest marvels in this continent. And Gambia can do it. Yeah. Cape Verde. Forget about the tourism. If you look at the infrastructure development, because Cape Verde has one of the, though small as a country, if you look at remittance inbound into Cape Verde, because they disperse all over the world, Gambia needs a model that will harvest the remittances from our diaspora, but give them assurance. And that assurance cannot come without institution being strengthened. What we have as a country, the problem of this country is weak institutions and strong men and women. So business confidence and investor confidence will be minimal because discretion is the way out, not rule-based. And strong institutions give you rule-based systems, not discretionary systems.
Exactly.
But looking at governance, though, do you think, when we elected you, going back to 2017, when President Barrow came in, it was reforming our institutions. And the reason why, obviously, we had the new Gambia was because of the dictatorship where we in Solo Sanding and co were killed because of the Public Order Act. And the Gambians wanted change. And today we are looking at the governance structure. What has changed? The government is putting up a bill It's not a bill actually. It's a policy document which will not even go to the National Assembly. This is a deliberate act to silence people like me and you. Because
I will not be silent.
For somebody like us on this platform, we are not licensed. Because there's nowhere in the world where YouTube and Facebook are licensed. Nowhere in the world.
Freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Wherever something comes in direct collision with your freedom of expression, that thing is secondary. My freedom of expression is sacrosanct, primary, protected right. So I'm not bothered about that. I will test it when the time comes.
I am, because for us, people like us, we have a platform. When you, number one, they're trying to put you in a corner where they'll get you licensed, and you have somebody like Nyang Njie and Dr. Gajigo on your platform, they will be, if they say anything, you will be held responsible for that. Your license will be taken. Now, I can broadcast on Facebook, and because you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me on YouTube. But what they can do is prosecute you for having these platforms set up. And the saddest thing, I have no.
What about jurisdiction? If the platform is not registered in Gambia?
But the thing is,
we're global citizens.
But
we're netizens.
I think what they're trying to do, what they're forgetting is this. I can go sit in the United States and do worse than what I'm doing here. What are you going to do to me? I can go to the UK or even Senegal and do worse than So they're trying to create more crazy people and enemies for themselves. And what saddens me, I saw this opinion by Lamin Fati and also from somebody, the silence. Somebody who was silenced before is the one who is coming. Dr. Ismail Assise was the first person who stood and told us all that President Barrow was clueless. He didn't know what he was doing. Now, he was arrested for those statements. Every single Gambian stood by him. Until few days, until he became minister, he kept on saying those things. For him to be the one who champions something like this, it just saddens me. And I'm thinking, is it worth it? Positions and all of this luxury life. Is it worth doing this to your people? People that you have stood in front of and said things like this. How do you go from here?
I mean, the characters like Dr. Cisse will always be with us. The only problem was that a few years back, we didn't really know the real Dr. Cisse. He never changed. He just was showing us a different face. At the time, he needed to present himself as a brave individual fighting the government, because he thought that was the easiest route to whatever he was running to, going for. And now, obviously, when circumstances changed, he couldn't get elected. Now he found that the easiest way towards power and influence is just going through the. So people don't change really. It's just the face that they show to people. But going back to why we have, I totally share your concern here. This is something that we should all be concerned about. There's also a silver lining. A government that wants to go out of its way and blatantly silence its critics is also a government that is not sure of itself. That doesn't have a confidence in what it is doing. They know that what the face they are presenting to people is not backed by real evidence on the ground. All of these things we are talking about, where they say they're achieving X, Y, and Z, when in reality, when you look at the indicators that we should focus on, they know what they are projecting and reality are different. And when you are aware of that difference, you become defensive. You are no longer confident. And the ability of other people to critique, you want to constrain that. So this is a government that is not confident in what it says it is achieving. So that is the silver lining here. And that should give hope to people that, whatever we are doing to fight this government, to expose the truth, let's continue doing that.
It's working.
It's working.
Absolutely.
And for those of us, not every Gambian will be able to, let's say, fight this government in the ways that maybe you and I or Nyang Njie will be able to, able to stand up. But for those who are not able to fight them, who have to be constrained and silenced, the way we, our activities, our efforts in exposing this, in resisting it, will also be a model for, and a source of boost for those people. So I think here, for me, my view is, let's continue fighting this thing. It is an attempt to silence legitimate criticisms because they are feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If what we were saying, all the critics of this government, if they were just completely ineffective, they wouldn't bother.
It's impactful.
Yeah, it is impactful.
It is.
And they know that there is something here. Yeah. And if this thing continues, we will expose reality. And that's what they are scared of.
Yeah.
And that's why it is important, whatever we are doing, that precipitated this, to continue along that path.
And Nyang, for example, I have always said I never want to speak about GRTS, but the national broadcaster is a taxpayer funded television. You don't see oppositions on the national broadcaster. The reason my show stopped on GRTS was because when I interviewed Lawyer Dabo, they told me they will not air that particular. Before election, they will not air that episode.
But that's the second time. You remember the fourth.
How many times did they cancel my shows? But this particular one, they told me that they were not going to air that Lawyer Dabo interview. I should bring the second one. It was before elections. And I told them, if you don't air this one, I'm not bringing another episode. And that was how our relationship ended. Nothing. I continued on my platform. Thankfully.
Because they don't have numbers.
Thankfully for me, I have more viewers than them. But now, what you see happening on GRTS and some TV stations, like QTV, I'm going to be honest, when the NPP has rallies, they will live stream it direct on national broadcasters. And I can bet they will not show you any receipt where NPP is paying for that broadcast. Well, now, even GRTS news, when Jammeh's time, we said Jammeh was dictatorship. Never in my entire life have I seen Jammeh news, 8 o'clock news move because Jammeh was doing a rally or some meetings. Never. 8 o'clock news will not be moved. 10 o'clock will be moved. What they do, bring Jammeh's highlight after the news, stop it for the 10 o'clock news and bring it the second part after the 10 o'clock. There was so much respect for the national news, not this administration. 8 o'clock news, President Barrow is doing a rally in Sukuta. They're bringing that on and the news is not on. They are not being fair to the other people, but they want us.
Yeah.
I saw on this draft, all give equal opportunity to all political parties. I'm not doing that. This is not a taxpayer-funded.
Exactly.
Well, I think, Fatou,
I'm not going to give any political party airtime on my platform if you don't pay.
Fatou.
And if one person pays more, I'll give you more. So I don't understand how.
I always say that there's a disconnect between our reality as citizens and the reality of the people who govern us. There's a disconnect.
There is.
I'll give you two simple scenarios. One is with media.
Yeah.
They need to understand we live in the age of new media. Terrestrial TV, satellites are a thing of the past.
Yep.
What people are looking for is not what GRTS is offering. We've moved beyond that, and they are not repositioning themselves for relevance. So I will not even waste my time telling them give the opposition airtime. No one is watching them. If you were doing a Nielsen rating on our television, you will know that people don't watch GRTS. One, because of lack of content, and two, their unresponsiveness to what new media calls for. Another disconnect I want to tell you goes straight to agriculture. 2026, the Minister of Agriculture, who happened, if he knows, I'm just assuming, he knows the profile of the average Gambian farmer, wants to give you a tractor. That's wanting to let you be in debt forever. Why? If you do today a survey of people who own farms, they're all smallholders. You cannot be a large farm holder if you don't own 700 to 1,500 to 6,000 acres.
Yeah.
Show me how many Gambians own farms of that magnitude. 5% of farmers. So
less than that.
Today, if the government were to go to India and buy small mechanized tillers a tractor 1 meter 50 by 80, something very small. It is responsive to the needs of the farmer. And they need to, that's why I'm saying there's a disconnect. They need to understand that the land tenure system is not favorable for big farmers to be in, commercial big farmers to be in the Gambia, the way land is owned in the Gambia. So smallholder farmers will be here at least for the next 30 years until our land laws change. Our
tenure system is not suitable for any farmer.
So there's a disconnect.
As a farmer, I can tell you that.
There's a serious disconnect between the people who are governed and the people who govern us. And sometimes I wonder, does common sense just come and pass through them, or they just being intentionally ignorant? I don't know which of these two. But they've already failed before they've started with this new media, this media thing. It's not effective. It is counterproductive, and it's going to make people go underground. And when they go underground, they will be physical. You will see them, but we are walking in a virtual space. Jurisdiction. In law, jurisdiction matters. You cannot prosecute me if I'm not in your jurisdiction. This law doesn't apply to netizens that are outside of the Gambian space, but they will impact people in the Gambia. So are they thinking whether whatever we're trying to do will yield a desirable outcome of what even we're saying we want? No, because they don't understand the virtual space is not confined to where me and you are. This is a country. The virtual space, I can address Gambia without being within the jurisdiction of this country, and I'll be very effective.
Interesting. You talked about agriculture. Dr. Gajigo, you are a farmer yourself.
Right.
You said groundnut output up 16%. Government spent $2 billion to purchase 50,000 metric tons, 110 solar powered water systems drilled nationwide. Total cereal output rose to 131 metric tons in 2025. It looks like...
If you just look at those numbers in isolation, it looks like somebody listing their achievement. But again, when you pinpoint, what is the number they put there for groundnut production? They said it went up to like, I think what is...
16%.
Yes.
Output.
Yes, output all the way to like, is the total production of groundnut, in fact, is less than 60,000. 60,000 tons. Now ask yourself, what was it a few years back, let's say during the Jammeh administration? The Jammeh administration, from 1995 to 2016, the average groundnut production in the Gambia was over 90,000 tons. In the Jawar administration, the average groundnut production in the Gambia was over 120,000 tons per annum. At some point, there were some years where it even reached 140,000 to around 150,000. So what this government is touting, they're actually reflecting a precipitous drop, a collapse in groundnut production. So you ask yourself, what caused that? What the government is touting as, again, a success input in terms of purchasing of fertilizer and seeds. The seeds and the fertilizer, they hardly ever reach the farmers on time. Their distribution, nobody has any idea the rhyme and rhythm of it, because a lot of it is actually done and handled in a politicized way. The price that is paid to farmers ensures a very low return. The price of the price per kg the government pays to farmers over the past 3 years has been constant. What has been the inflation rate, average inflation rate in the Gambia over the past 3 years? Is over 10%. So the cost of inputs has been going up. The cost that you are their output, you are paying them a constant price. Do you think their production is going up? Let's go to the other important cereal crop, which is rice, our staple. Gambia and Senegal, we used to have almost the same level of productivity.
And the size, their land size relative to ours.
But I mean, way bigger. But now look, what is the average during Barrow's administration, the average productivity, that is the amount of tonnage of rice you get per hectare, is now the lowest in all of ECOWAS. We are the least productive rice growing country in West Africa. We used to be The same with Senegal. Where is Senegal right now? Senegal currently is at the world average of roughly almost 4 tons per hectare. In other words, Senegal, the productivity now has quadrupled that of Gambia. You ask yourself why? Because even the investment that we have made during Jawara and Jammeh's time, these people cannot in fact maintain it. Go to the village of Jahali today. In many parts of Jahali, they can only grow rice in the dry season because the levee system that we are there in the Jahali system has completely collapsed. So the amount of water in the rainy season cannot be regulated. So you cannot grow rice in big chunks of that rice field. This government took loans of hundreds of millions of dollars from ADB to develop. The other day, the Minister of Agriculture said, "Oh, one of the reasons why it's difficult to develop rice in the Gambia, to be self-sufficient in rice is because land development cost is expensive." It's true, but ask yourself, why are we in that situation? This same government got a loan of 500 million from ADB to develop rice fields in URR and CRR. What did they do? The project was given to Abubakar Jawara. He took the money. Not only did he not develop the rice fields as he should, he actually destroyed it. In one village, Limbambulu, and another village, Dampakunda, but let me focus on Limbambulu. I went there, took pictures, I posted them on my Facebook page. There is an area of 1 kilometer by 500 meters, 50 hectares. That village is a cluster of 4 villages used to farm that rice field. But after that project, after Abubakar Jawara's company went through that rice field, now they can only cultivate about 10 hectares in that whole, only about 20% of the area. So in fact, and by the way, that loan will be paying it back for the next 30 years.
Yes.
Wow.
So the government got money to develop agriculture. So they talk about all these inputs. So the money is coming. So the government could have easily talked about all these loans that they go, all the money they pumped. But what is the outcome?
Impact.
What is the impact? So in fact, you've made the life of the people in Woolly West even worse. Their rice production has even gone back. Why? Because it is far more politically expedient for you to reward a political patron than to actually invest, making so that you find, making so that the people with the capacity to do the work that is too politically inconvenient. So, going back to the earlier point, this SONA is full of the government touting inputs and wrong indicators. When you're talking about agriculture, the government should be talking about, okay, we used to import this percentage of rice. Today, we are importing a smaller percentage. The price of rice on average used to be like this, now it's like this. Our productivity and yield of rice used to be this level, now it's at this level. Our groundnut farmers used to have a return of this amount on groundnut, now they're having better return. Our production of groundnut is this % higher than what it was on the previous regime. But that's not what they are talking about. They are focusing on the wrong indicators, because on every real metric that matters, on productivity, on returns to farmers, on price of agricultural commodities, on importation, they are all going in the wrong direction. And unless a government that is serious about development addresses the agricultural sector, we are not going anywhere. And this government has shown itself completely incapable of addressing this sector. And you can tell, we talk about this a lot of times. If you want to know about the seriousness of a government, about how it is addressing, just have a look at the leaders it puts in important portfolio. You need 3 key categories: patriotism, integrity, and competence.
Yeah.
If one of these things is missing, it won't happen.
Say that what?
Patriotism. In other words, the interest of the nation supersedes individual interests.
No, the reason why I want to say I want to hear that patriotism. Barrow said, "Mumboy Gambia." in how many years he only left this country once? If he wants to go on holiday, he goes to Mankamakunda.
Yes.
Well, it's economics.
Well,
it's economics.
When he had the opportunity to leave, he did leave. For me, to say that if that is the measure of patriotism, well, the person in the Gambia who cannot afford fare,
more patriotic than the frequent flyer.
Yes, more patriotic than anyone who has left the country even once. So what he was talking about here, again, is basically just, again, it's one of those empty talk. Because patriotism is when we talk about putting the interest, like that project, there's nothing patriotic about that, by putting the interest of your political patron ahead of the interest of poor Gambians who live in a very deprived region.
We all knew Yonna won their first contract.
Yonna won the contract and they are forced to split.
To split it and give Abubakar half of it.
Exactly.
Yonna delivered, but we haven't seen publicly anywhere that Gaj delivered the tractors.
Gaj can do whatever it wants because he's close to the president. There will be no consequence. So here is an example where the president can demonstrate to us patriotism is much more important than benefiting my friends. And he has failed in demonstrating that. So to talk about patriotism using such a flawed logic, that the fact that he hasn't traveled outside of the country is a demonstration of patriotism, is basically almost laughing at us and rubbing it in our face.
Fatou, we were just talking about agriculture. We need to understand why Gambian farmers grew groundnut in the past. We were a colony. Our colonial master wanted us to grow groundnuts. And guess what? Gambian groundnuts before and post independence was what you call high confectionery nuts. Cadbury, Nestle, all these big chocolate companies, they used to get hand-picked. It's called hand-picked high confectionery nut. All the chocolate that people are eating in England, Switzerland, the groundnuts were of Gambian origin. That's why GOMB used to have an office, Gambia Oil Marketing Board.
GPMB.
GUM first. It was GUM.
Then, okay.
Yeah. They used to have an office in Switzerland and England for the trading of groundnuts and that post-colonial. So we were growing groundnuts to service industries driven by our colonials. But like the Americans will say, peanuts is peanuts. Today, the agricultural policy of this country should call for high-value produce, be it strawberries, be it watermelons. A farmer should not have a seasonal vocation. A farmer should have an annual vocation and not rain-fed. We're too blessed to wait for rain under the existing environment of global warming. The unpredictability of rainwater is a problem. When we have water that can be piped, forget about Fonyi, all these areas being salt water on the river. Piped water. No, I'm not even talking about the underground. Our river water can be piped all the way to Bakau if we so choose to. We can harvest water during the rain and create reservoirs behind the Joshuangs and K points so that agriculture can flourish year-round. But the problem is we lack people with vision. You see, there's two things. There's vision and there's execution. Execution doesn't develop country. Vision is what develops countries. And I'll give Ablai Wada as a classic. When he came, the vision he had of Dakar, he didn't finish it, but that vision, without it, Dakar would not have been what it is today. So in Gambia, we don't value knowledge, we don't value vision, and we love substandard stuff and substandard people. And that's why we are where we are. And we will continue to struggle because we are second rated.
By the way, I mean, you talk about irrigation here, which is very important. And one of the things that doesn't get the attention that it should. Because if agriculture, as you rightly say, shouldn't be a seasonal activity, should be year-round. I'm involved in agriculture. My farm has activity year-round. Why? Because I have irrigation. One of my farms is close to the river. The other ones, I have boreholes. The one activity in agriculture, in our agricultural sector, is these women gardeners. This is one of the most high return activities because it's a high value crop. But they are the subsector that gets the least amount of support.
Underfunded.
In fact, there is no budget allocation to women gardens.
Yeah.
All the boreholes and assistance you see, they are either directly from donors or from philanthropists.
Yeah.
I visit over 100 vegetable gardens a year because I have a project that helps over 100 a year. And you'll hardly ever see a project that is directly funded. You won't see an allocation in the budget for irrigation.
No.
Look at the detailed government breakdown. The line for irrigation is always zero. You know, so if you want to develop agriculture, transform it from the subsistence agriculture we have, that is only around groundnut, as he rightly pointed out. You need to have a transformational idea.
Yeah.
You need to have a bold implementation of things like irrigation. What's to prevent the Gambia here from having canals running the whole length of the country?
Thank you.
You go to, I can give you one example today. You go to the border of Same and Sandu. The village there on Sandugu Bolong is called Dembawandu. You stand there, you look north towards the Senegalese border or south towards River Gambia. What you see is a tributary that on its sides is basically a prime land for cultivation of whatever you want, whether rice, whether vegetable, because it floats during the rainy season and retracts during the dry season. You don't need fertilizer. It's a very fertile floodplain along it. This is an area where you wouldn't see a single government activity. Yet, to the extent that our ministers or government officials pass through there, they don't even stand and give it a glance.
They don't have the eye.
Yeah, but that is an area where basically you're talking about hectares of land along a river that is completely unexploited, that could be transformational in terms of cereal crops, in terms of horticultural, high-value horticultural crops. The problem here, as he rightly said, we lack leaders currently with the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is, if you have people there who do not meet those three categories that I pointed out, patriotism, integrity, and competence, even if you bring the vision and put it on their laps, they cannot execute it. You know, so you cannot conceptualize, you cannot come up with a vision, and even if it's because let's face it, I mean, when you look at many of these sector policies and strategies, they're actually well written.
Fine documents.
They're fine documents written by very good consultants.
It's the implementation.
The implementation, the execution and implementation, there is no monitoring. They go through all of the fine process of consultations here and there. People go to the hotels, stakeholder consultation, afterwards, what happens? It collects the dust. So this is the problem we have. The vision is not there, and even if a vision is provided, if you have the wrong leadership that do not have the key criteria, there will be no execution of it.
Now, the health sector, I mean, I see big numbers here, 3.1 billion allocated in the 2026 budget, 52 ambulances secured, secured ambulance command center coming, first ever dentists and pharmacists being trained locally. These are all some very good
again
look of our health sector.
A lot of inputs, but if you ask the average person today, the average Gambian, what is the indicator that matters to you is if you are unfortunate enough to go to a health center, not some remote one, but when teaching ones like Ndemban or Banjul, what is your typical experience? There is, first of all, you go to a hospital where you have patients on the hallways, in the veranda, not enough hospital beds, no medicine. Everything that's prescribed, you are basically the only thing that the doctor can tell you that's useful there would be the nearest pharmacy that you can go and buy. And the price at a price which is completely out of proportion to the income that you get. Yet when they were mentioning there, they didn't talk about affordability. They didn't talk about whether the medicines that come to the central medicine store, whether they filter down to the appropriate health centers, whether the distribution of the medications that come in certain medical store, do they reflect the disease profile of the country?
Yeah.
So the indicators that matter to the average person, they get zero mention in this SONA, in the health sector.
Fatou, you see, expenditure is a broad concept. Today, if government tells you that we're spending $100 million in health, fact. Now, is it going to the end user or is it going to run the service, meaning cost of the cars, fuel, whatever? What matters? How much dollars is the Gambia government spending per patient? That is how you can tell whether service delivery is good or not. I'm sorry, being an economist, we're very petty and picky. We dissect figures and tell you what you see is not what it is. Yes, 100 million has been spent in the health sector. But if you're using it to pay for seminars, using it for people to travel, and out of the 100 million, only 15 million goes directly to patients, there is a problem. And this is the problem in all spheres, whether it's agriculture, health, education. How much money is spent per child? That statistics, do we have it? When we say spend per child, directly into the educational activity of that child.
So 7.6 billion invested in the University of the Gambia.
You see, you're not saying, ma'am.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just giving you the global numbers that they are putting.
A genuine government that is interested in impact will want to trace its expenditure to see how much of that expenditure goes directly to the activity rather than the supporting cast of the activity. The impact is not about, we paid the rent here. The impact is what goes to that sick patient when he comes or she comes to the hospital. That's how you measure your impact, not the quantum of money spent. What has impacted the patient out of the 100 million? Security, the government said the Gambia is ranked the safest in West Africa, 4th safest in Africa by the Business Inside Africa. Drug conviction rate increased by 98%. What kind of drug? Petty drug or major drugs? Major drugs or petty drugs. They just said drugs. No, what I'm saying, Fatou, if you look at the prosecution profile, and the incarceration rates on just drugs, hardly ever you will see a kingpin going down. But always you will see the small corner boy ending up at mile 2. So now, if you talk about drug policy, the retailer going to jail more than the wholesaler. The retailer who is on the corner, who is buying 0.0001% of my stock, going to jail. When I own a stock of, let's say, $50 million, I'm not going to jail. But the guy who is only having $2,000 is going to jail. There's a disparity, and not only a disparity. There's a social cost. Prisons in Gambia has become a revolving door. And it hardens people that go there because our prisons don't reform. They don't reform. And the most productive demography of our society, the youth, we're not only losing them, we are not really preparing them for tomorrow. Go to the Ministry of Justice or go to the prison system and see how many youths are in jail. And ask them, why are you there for? Petty marijuana. Petty crimes. When containers of other illicit items are coming in, and after a while, it's like amnesia. It never happened in Gambia.
The thing about, this is a very important point. When you're talking about, the economy is doing well, and throughout all of that, there's no mention of employment rate. Or because there's one indicator that's very important for youth, for instance, it's called NEET. Not in employment, in education or training. In the Gambia, So it's because of our economy that's not very advanced. Unemployment rate by itself is not a very useful number, especially when you have a huge segment of the population that are employed in seasonal agriculture.
Yeah.
So a farmer in the dry season, you ask him, it's always meaningless to ask a farmer, are they employed or not?
Yeah.
Because when you're doing that labor statistics, you ask them, what's your employment status over the past couple of days or weeks? So a farmer in the middle of a dry season can be unemployed, but it's not a useful number in our context. So that's why this number, that's what's called need, not in employment. So you're not employed, not in education or training. What are you doing? Because employment also, you can forge it in a certain way. If somebody stopped looking for a work, they don't count in employment statistics because they are not in the labor force. You have to be in pursuit of employment, looking for it, before you are counted as unemployed. But once you sit down, as is the case when people have no hope, when people are willing to risk their life to cross the ozone, those people are not going to be looking for jobs most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
But what is, a very glaring absence here is not even a figure on employment rate, bringing the nuances out, and not a figure on youths that are not in employment, not in education, and not in training. And in the Gambia, this other category is a very significant number. Is somewhere close, from one of the GIBO statistics, is in the 30-something%. So it makes you think, if the government is not actually focused on these real indicators, do they even think about strategies to address the unemployment problem, the lack of opportunities, and the despair? Because what did the government say about migration, for instance? It says the programs that they are doing in Spain and Middle East, but the one in Spain collapsed.
Yeah.
It was only a handful of people who went.
And they stayed.
They stayed. So the program has collapsed. What is the status of the one in Middle East? No one has any idea.
Yeah.
The people who even benefited from that as a percentage of the number of youths from even a single district is minuscule. It's to talk about that as a success story when you are talking about the issue of youths not having any hope, not having any employment. It's basically a government that has no idea. This completely is idealist when it comes to addressing the problems facing our biggest demographic group.
So normally this is called the State of the Nation address, right? So meaning it is giving us an idea of what our society, what our country looks like. Does this really reflect the state of our nation?
Provided you don't live in a glass house.
Oh.
You see, Fatou, we have a problem. If people in power are insulated from the real world, they live in a manufactured world. And that manufactured world is not the reality of the average Gambian. And that's what happens a lot in the African context, and surely in the Gambia. The nucleus of power has always been protected from the real world. When the average, they create a cocoon. And you have what you call gatekeepers. So he's ring-fenced. They bring him a perceived reality, not the real reality.
So there's an echo chamber around him.
Yes, there's an echo chamber. So I'm sorry, he will get to see the truth, but it will be too little, too late. Just like Jamie.
Another example of this.
Yes, like all of them. But there's a disconnect between power and reality. Especially if you build an echo chamber around you. And that's what he's suffering from. He doesn't understand mainstream Gambia.
He said somebody told him, Mr. President, he has the wartal money boto sign, the man boto sign, wholesale 1,004 something. When he went to Mankamankuna, I'm thinking 1,004 something.
Yeah. Because basically what's happened, that was, I think that they're probably referring to the subsidized rice. I mean, the rice that was...
no, but yeah, that's the Japanese rice.
Yes. But even, this is a problem, really. I mean, using that as a success. Here is a, something that is your staple and it's been given to you as a gift.
Yeah.
And you are pricing that below the market, and you are touting that as a success story. What have you done to actually, produce that rice? Because that has been coming annually before this government.
Yeah.
How can that be a success story for you? It means you don't have, it's just like when the government cited the Business Insider news, what is it called?
As the safest country.
Safest country. That is a government that is desperate for recognition. Because we all know that there is a whole little cottage industry out there of a magazine that if you want to, get your name out quickly, is manufacture a little index or a price. Look for a leader that is, hungry for accolades. Give them that, and then they will advertise your newspaper. This basically, is a pride and trusted.
Yeah, it's
something it's the same that's happening here. The other point about like having, the political class, the political leadership class living in a reality that is divorced from the reality of the average Gambian. You also see it in many ways.
Yeah.
I drive across the country frequently, and one of the things anyone would tell you is the number of checkpoints we have.
Yeah.
If you have a government vehicle, you arrive at these checkpoints, you can even go around everyone. Or better yet, you have a tinted glass, a Prado without any number plate.
Denton Bridge.
Yeah, without any number plate. You just come, you can go. Now, what sort of thing does that perpetuate? Basically, you as a senior government official, you don't even have any idea the impact, the negative impact those checkpoints have on the life of the average person, because you don't get to experience it. Yeah, you don't get to experience it, But if you are a more reflective government official, you should stay in line in that checkpoint and also feel how your life is impacted by being delayed, so that you are able to put yourselves in the shoes of the average Gambian.
Our public hospitals are classic examples, and our public schools. They don't experience it all the time. Overseas treatment.
Yeah. Our government officials, when they're sick, they go straight to India. So, which is why it's completely laughable when Adam Barrow and some of his ministers are talking about our health sector is our hospitals are so good that people are leaving the US to come here for treatment. It's like so laughable, because Adam Barrow himself will not have any of his relatives being sent to any clinic in the Gambia. Definitely will not send them to Nemban. Will send them somewhere very far. Let Adam Barrow tell us which of his close relatives he sent for treatment in a Gambian clinic. Or his advisors, where do they go? You ask every single one of them, what are they saying? Is it a reflection of the reality? Because they don't get to, experience what the average Gambian does. They don't have big disconnect.
They don't have trust of our facilities.
Because when you get sick, at least you try. If it's not working, then you move. But they would not even try.
No, they don't trust it. They know better.
No, they know. That's why when COVID happened, there was this anecdote in Nigeria where, because all airports were closed, and one person in Nigeria said something quite funny. It's like, this, epidemic, did something that was virtually impossible. Forced a senior Nigerian government official to see the inside of a local hospital. Because if you are sick, you had no choice. You had to go to local clinics because the airport was closed. That you couldn't jump on your private jet and fly to London or Paris or New York.
Yeah. Finally, the president called on all parties to campaign peacefully ahead of the 2026 presidential elections, but he also committed that government is committed to a transparent and credible electoral process. That is very positive.
It sounds positive. And we talked just recently about GRTS.
Yeah.
Are we going to get equal opportunities? Every opposition, I'll grant him, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. we hope that every, as somebody who's participating in this process, I hope that we all play by the rule. The government doesn't go out of its way to make life difficult, unnecessarily difficult for people in the opposition. We in the opposition also have a responsibility to talk to our supporters, to respect the law, to be, not to be, you can be enthusiastically and legally supportive of your party without, breaking the law. The enemy here in the Gambia is not another Gambian who is supporting a different party. The responsibility we have towards people in another party is to convince them. Nobody is entitled to support. Even my relatives, I'm not entitled to their support. The burden is on me to convince them to support me and to maintain their support. Nobody's entitled to support me. So just because somebody at the moment doesn't support me, my reaction to that as an opposition should be, I have work to do to convince you, to change your opinion so that you can come to the platform that I am, I'm campaigning on. So we are in the opposition have that responsibility. So the people should realize that people in other political parties are not there as are not their enemy. They have difference of opinion, and there are peaceful and civilized ways of addressing that. The enemy of every Gambian person, whether you are in opposition or ruling party, are politicians who are in position of power, and they are not patriotic, and they are squandering national resources, and they are retarding our development. That is the common enemy to every Gambian. So if you see something positive in the ruling party and you want to support the ruling party, by all means, go ahead. We in the opposition, our job is to make sure we reveal what is going wrong, so that whatever decision or conclusion you are reaching about the government, whether for them or against them, it is informed by the fact. We believe that we go by reality, by the facts on the ground. This government has reached a stage now where Adama Barrow is due for retirement at Mankamangkunda. 2 terms is enough. Even if you have been doing fantastic job, 2 terms is enough. But especially a government that has a very clear record of failures, despite some positive steps taken, but a very clear record of failure, that government should be shown the way out the door. So this is, I take the president at his word. Let's hope that this campaign period goes very smoothly. And what prevails is something that is in the best interest of the country.
Nyang, the president said, yen wa pipeline ak fajara. Yen da yen foog ne yen rek yen a war a nekk président, yen a war a nekk directors, yen a war a nekk ay ministers, yen a war a am lu baax. Pipeline ak fajara. Why president si boppam fu mu ne mu ngi leen bugg a join? Because he's going to be a resident of Pipeline.
What do you have to say for that?
Yen nag diga
he's doing a big house there.
I think I wrote something. I wrote something online.
I read that.
I think the president doesn't understand what an elite is. He doesn't understand what a crony is. He doesn't understand what a fat cat is. If someone can sit down and say, hey, I want to build a mosque in Serekunda, next thing, boom, 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 money comes your way. There's nothing like a free lunch. Of all the places he could have lived and built a house in Gambia, he chose Fajara.
Wow.
Fine. My thing is, the tribal card was used quite a lot in 2021.
Yes.
Now, he's doing another social stratification. It's the same technique, but now based on economics. The us and them syndrome. But unfortunately, it cannot work. The pot is calling the kettle black. All of them munulo talk to their dikohas. I rest my case. But Gambians are smart, and we were not born yesterday. So, Mr. President, find another tactic. It won't work.
It worked in 2021.
No. This one.
The tribal card they used worked.
Economic card.
And I see this because when somebody come hale bu joge si deh gi kaw mu dega baro mu ne antol santo ka dinoli tole amre tol da male nyanta kelate tol manyana kelate, you will see yourself in that, you know. That can resonate. It's not everybody who thinks like you, right? It can resonate to some people,
you know.
And President Barrow is very calculative.
There's a word in French called nouveau riche.
Okay.
Halis bo es do de nobu. Halis bo es. New money. And in 2016, it's a topic I wouldn't like to say much. We were around before 2016, and we saw a lot of people, the way they were living prior to 2016, and how they're living today. So the reason why I say it won't work, the economy is not there to support what he's saying. People are suffering. And honestly, Mr. President is disconnected with mainstream Gambian reality. He really needs to adjust and come back to where Gambians are and get out of that echo chamber, like he said. The problem of Gambia is not pipeline or people from pipeline or Fajara or Bakau or Basse Santasu. The problem of this country are the people who want to feed off ill-gotten gains, people who think they're more Gambian than the very Gambian that's not subsidized, sustaining them. And it's sad, but, you know, people need courage of conviction to call a spade when they see one. I have nothing against the president because it's not personal. If Mr. Adama Barrow is no longer president, a retired citizen, I will not say anything about him, but the office he's sitting on, I happen to have a stake in it. And as a Gambian, I will voice my opinion respectfully and also with information that is irrefutable. But you shouldn't be angry that people are telling you you're going the wrong way. Come back here. That's what he needs. But unfortunately, if you fence yourself with people who make a survival off of you, it's like you dance to their tune. And this is what his problem is. And I wish and I hope he happens to realign himself with sanity and find people who happens to have the greater good's interests. Then whatever he's doing is for the interest of the greater good. But right now, it's not to the greater good.
Well, he had an opportunity to do that, and this is his last year. It's too late now.
And you know, that analogy, first president Jawara si dehki la joge. Second president Jammeh is from Fonyi, right? The third president Barrow mom tam lola. Cabinet so yo hunu wat ne Gambian si elite si ñoo buga nekk dara. No, ñooñu
elite is very dynamic. The elites of APRC, unless they have gone through the transfer window and joined to be still elites, they're elites. But most of them are no longer elites because elitism, power, influence. For you to be an elite, you need power, you need influence. Who's getting the contracts? The people with influence. Who has power? The people who has made money out of these contracts. So the people that he is calling his nemesis are not. We want him on the straight and narrow.
And who's to say is the residents of, Pipeline Fajara who are the richest? For all we know, it could be Kersering, Brusubi and others. It's not confined. I mean, that area now, the area where you have the elite living is quite diffuse now.
Yes.
You go even to Batokunku and to Jere, you find some big mansions there. So
maybe we have two presidential candidates from Fajara and one in Pipeline.
Good luck to him and
them. Good luck, Mr. President. But thank you so much, guys. What to begin now, Dr. Gajigo? Final message. We are running out of time.
No, I mean, basically this state of the nation, which is what really brought us here. President Barrow basically has shown us that, I mean, he's just, basically the leadership around him, of course, him being at the helm of that leadership, they've not really, they don't have an idea of what the average Gambian is going through. It's a huge disconnect. This state of the nation is not a reflection of what matters to the people. What is also, I mean, what are people's needs, and you get a sense that a government is reaching a crisis point when that disconnect becomes so big that it is very hard to ignore. It's obviously evident to everyone but to him. Yeah, because obviously if he was in touch with the people, if his advisors brought him a speech like this, he would have told them to go back, tear this thing up, and bring him a speech that addresses the real concerns of the people, what the average person is feeling today. It doesn't matter if you are from URR or CRR or from Pipeline, you know, or the elites like Nyang Njie. It doesn't matter. You know, sorry, I'm just putting it like, but the fact of the matter is the crisis that people are facing today, the high cost of living, the unaffordability of everyday items, got no benson. You know, what it shows that is that I'm increasingly confident that those of us who are really coming out and presenting the Gambian people with a different option, you know, we are on the right path. So the president, you know, and the people basically around him, I mean, what they should realize right now is whatever they are trying to do to hang on in terms of, let's say, bringing these new media regulations to try to quieten or silence the critics. It's not going to work.
In an election year?
In an election year.
It will not work.
It's not going to work.
Yes.
You know, you cannot, you know, you can blind yourself to reality, but you cannot change reality. Yeah. And the reality there is staring right in the middle, I mean, right in the face of people. Anyone who dares to look, you know, his government is not delivering. What they are delivering is basically a bunch of gimmicks as a campaign strategy. Real development is not happening. The vision, as we talked about earlier, is not there. The execution is being poorly done. You know, this is the reality in the Gambia. And this is, the SONA here gives us an opportunity to show that this government has lost, pretty much has lost the, you know, the ball here. So this is the reality here. There's no two ways about it. Yeah.
Nyang, the State of the Nation address.
Fatou, I'm quite concerned as a Gambian. Not that I'm not pessimist or I'm not an optimist. No. The issue is looking at the global dynamics currently that's out at play. And right now there's a lag effect. What's happening, Gambia is yet to feel the pinch because of the lag effect, meaning it takes time before it hits.
Gets to us,
Pump price of a strategic product, petroleum, will be impacted May, June, July. Like it or not, because people work on futures contract. You buy in the future, you don't buy spot. And if you buy spot, they will impute what's happening today to factor it into their price because it's a replacement cost. If I buy this water today and I need it again, I have to pay for the replacement cost. Food, the vulnerability of the Gambia. Because right now, freight logistics in the world has been constrained because of Strait of Hormuz. And Bab el-Mandeb may be next. We are getting a lot of our food from Southeast Asia. Today, if people have to go the long way through Cape of Good Hope instead of through the Suez, because before you come to Suez, you have to go to Bab el-Mandeb or Strait of Hormuz to connect to the Suez Canal to come to the Gulf of Guinea. Food items for this country
are already expensive.
No, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about after the lag effect of this war.
So I wanted to come there before I close. Nyang, you know, when this government came in 2017, the problem was we took over nothing from Jammeh. That's what we're trying to fix. And then we went into COVID. COVID. From there, we went to Ukraine. Now this war also has started. It's going to affect the entire world. But serious governments are putting measures in place. What should be the role government will be playing now to help avert the possibility of things like what you're saying going higher, food, fuel, and everything. Everything is going to go high, but governments are putting things in place. What are we doing? What should
resources are scarce and limited.
Yeah.
We don't have enough to stockpile.
Okay.
Food, fuel, whatever. We have capacity constraints at the depot. We have financial constraints.
Yeah.
So the only thing this government can do right now is to find ways and means to see minimum this little things that we need not get from any other country. Tobaski is coming.
Yeah.
Ram. Mali. Mauritania.
Yeah.
Honestly, my worry, I'm quite concerned.
Yeah.
My reality is not the reality of the people running this country. When I say my reality, where I am seeing things going come May, June, July, August, it's not looking good. I mean, it's dire. And I'm looking at the global environment and I juxtapose it with where we are in Gambia and the constraints we find. Getting Forex is a problem. Cash is a problem. Getting food on time is a problem. So when all these things come to play, they need to wake up.
The rainy season is coming and this thing, fertilizer, will go up. Because remember, one of the ingredients for urea is the natural gas.
Yeah.
So when gas fields are being bombed, as anything that's an input to fertilizer means fertilizer prices will go up.
Yeah. Plus the freight.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting times ahead. Gentlemen, thank you so much for an interesting program. Our internet has been fluctuating. It's good now, but I think we're going to air this show all over again tonight at 8:30 because I see a lot of people saying, look, this conversation is so interesting and the internet is in flow. It's been stable for the past couple of years.
Well, I'm going back to retirement.
Our election, so road to 2026, you're going to be a permanent panel. So
I'm going back.
You're coming back. We're starting that in June, but
I'm just the next citizen now. I don't want to be.
Well, I'm sorry. Wait until after 2026 election. You
to convince me to start TV. We started together.
We started this show together. But he went back to retirement.
Some of the old video.
He went back to retirement, but he's coming in June for the road to 2026.
Pull him out.
He has to. He has to. We need voices. He has to. He has to. And of course, we are also launching. Yeah, and
we appreciate it.
We're launching a new civic education show on the voter registration. The supplementary voter registration is in April, and this will start in April. Just to encourage people to go out and register, especially the young people. Right. Your vote is your voice. You have to go out and register. You cannot sit on social media on your rules and talk about what government is doing and not doing. Exactly. If you want change, if you want the continuity, you go and register and make your choice.
What I've seen in other countries that have worked is a synergistic approach to accomplishing what you're saying.
Yeah.
America, you saw what you call rock the vote.
Rock the vote. We did that last 20
So now in the Gambia,
you
have entertainers, musicians. These people, they're national influencers.
Yeah.
So now, people with microphones, people with platforms, once they come together, it's explosive.
It is.
And one thing we Gambians are not good at is collaborating. And we need a collaborative effort to achieve an objective that we all share.
Yep.
And this is not about, they can get a voter's card and vote for NPP, no problem.
But they should
exercise the civic right. And I think it's a good thing that people get up and encourage people to say, your country, your choice, and your responsibility.
Yep. And remember 2021, when we wanted to do this Rock the Vote concert, I initiated it and IIR was supposed to sponsor us. At one point, they pulled back with the U.S. Embassy. Last minute. You know what Tal said? Sal, it's our election, we're going to fund it. The civil society came. Sal was calling on everybody. Everybody donated. And we did the biggest concert with all of the artists.
You need to coordinate that.
I told him, he said, yes, Fatou coordinated, we'll do it. I'm like, child, I'm tired, I'm broke. But you know,
I'm talking about getting the right people and let them mobilize.
Sal is good at that. He calls everybody.
He is highly networked.
Oh my God, he pulls everybody, and everybody I was just seeing money coming in, and we funded it by ourselves. And I think that's something he told me to work on it. I don't know.
Well, I'll talk to him, and I'll put you on call.
Okay, yes. Thank
you, Gambia.
Thank you so much, Nyang. Thank you, Dr. Gajigo.
Thank you very much
watching.
for
The show will air again at, I think, let's say 8:30 in 1 hour's time. And so we can enjoy it fully. And also it's going to be on our YouTube channel. Good night to you all. See you again. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Looking for the perfect home away from home in the Gambia? Welcome to BC's Residence, your ideal short stay apartment in the heart of Bundung. Whether you're visiting for business, pleasure, or an extended stay, BC's Residence offers you the comfort, convenience, and privacy you deserve. Enjoy spacious, well-appointed accommodations in a peaceful neighborhood just behind Nusrat High School. Our residence combines modern amenities with authentic Gambian hospitality, ensuring your stay is both comfortable and memorable. At BC's Residence, you are not just booking a room, you're finding your perfect base to explore all that the Gambia has to offer. Ready to book your stay? Contact us today. +220 941414 bcsresidence@gmail.com. BC's Residence, Bundung, behind Nusrat High School. Your comfort is our priority.
Jah Oil ñoom ñoo jiitu si wàllum jaay essence si biir réew mi te ñu def ko warugal pour kontaan loo suñu client yi borom moto yi ak driver yi seen jaaxare jeex na léegi pour am essence bu baax ak njëg bu yomba lii sax moo tax ñu amal leen banxaas fépp si biir réew mi pour essence bu baax bu set benn place rek la muy Jah Oil soo soxlae essence bu set essence bu baax gasoil wala kérosine naa la wax ne Jah Oil rek mooy jëmukaay ga doxantul rek si bépp banxaasi Jah Oil nga am si bànneex ak Jah Oil seen bànneex mooy suñ taxawaay moo tax ñu amoon leen banxaas bépp si biir réew mi nim gën a yombee pour yow ak suñ liggéeykat yu xarañ yi naa la won ne mbégte rek nga see jël pour am essence bu baax pour say machine fenn place rek la mooy sa Jah Oil ak Jah Oil bànneex kese la moo tax sax suñ station si nekk ca Costa Road ak Banjul wàññil nañ leen njëgi essence bi foofu noonu pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call si 770 8080 322 9070 714 7273 wala 787 1321 Jah Oil, the pride of the nation.
Introducing the future of hassle-free and seamless financial transaction. The Yonna Wallet App, empowering you to effortlessly manage your money anytime, anywhere. With the Yonna Wallet App, you can now enjoy branchless banking, wallet-to-wallet transfer, wallet-to-cash, and bank cross-border payments, deposit at a bank, and withdraw from any Yonna branch. Get ready to experience the ultimate banking convenience with the Yonna Wallet App. With just few taps on your phone, you can effortlessly add funds, withdraw, and send money to your loved ones. The Yonna Wallet App also provides a detailed history of your transaction, making it easier to track your expenses. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Yonna Wallet App today on Play Store or App Store and say goodbye to hassle of traditional banking. Yonna Forex Bureau Limited, delivering much more than money